Okay, so I just moved into this house. Everything was done in 1988. The ice maker doesn't work on my Sub-Zero. I just moved in. I want a new ice maker system. I want all new tubing. I want it filtered. These are all common things that people will tell me, and it's very easily attainable. Now, that's your ice maker in there. That ice maker right there is probably about 30 years old. We'll check on it when we take it out. As well as the ice maker, there's something called a solenoid valve located down here on most units or underneath the machine. There's also all of that copper tubing that's 30 years old. It's probably full of copper oxidation or any other sort of sediment or contaminants in there. They didn't filter ice makers on Sub-Zeros until 2008. So we can easily fix all that. We are going to put into this machine a new ice maker, a new solenoid, a new arm. We're going to filter it with a simple Amazon filter, and we're going to change all the tubing coming into the machine. And we'll have a brand new clean ice maker in my 1988 Sub-Zero. Step one, let's find our ice maker valve and let's shut it off righty-tighty. This thing runs right up and underneath the machine. And I'm gonna cut this out. I'm gonna shut it off and I'm gonna cut it out and I'm gonna run a whole new line. And I'm gonna mount a filter up on this beam right here, just so that it filters the water before we make any ice. And we got a nice whole new clean line. We'll keep the valve, it seems to be working well. Okay, so let's get the solenoid valve out. A solenoid will typically have electrical connections in the front. And in the back, you may have to really dig in there to get to it. You have a line that goes to your ice maker. Now this is very tight, so bear with me. You gotta squeeze your hand in there, and it's just hand tight. It's a plastic line. So you just undo it, and you pull that out. Don't be alarmed if water starts coming out. You do have the water off to set off to the unit at this point. Then you're gonna sort of wiggle this thing free. You can kind of see it right there. Don't be afraid to sort of wiggle it out. And there we go. Okay. And that's our solenoid valve. And we have a direct replacement for it. We'll unscrew the garden hose connection. And I'm not sure if we're gonna use the same solenoid. Nowadays they have quick connect solenoids, 1/4-inch connections, and garden hose connections. We'll see. But any valve you get from Sub-Zero for this unit will work, and I wouldn't stress too much about the connection on it. And just to show you why I'm doing all of this, get some light on that, check that out. So that's what's inside the lines at this point. And if we look at the solenoid, you know, same thing. I'm not gonna go and just start drinking ice out of this, you know? I'm sure you wouldn't either. So let's get it all swapped out like new with a filter. Okay, so I made sure it was shut down and I got this undone, the 1/4-inch line going up to underneath the refrigerator, and I got as close as I could to the floorboards and I cut it, and now I'm gonna go pull the rest of the line up from underneath the refrigerator. Okay guys, so here's the line and it's under there, and I'm just pulling it out from underneath the basement, and here it comes, and that's it. Okay, and now we'll go run a new plastic water line up through the floor to connect to my new solenoid valve. Okay guys, we're just gonna run this new plastic line right back into that old hole that was up top underneath the fridge, and we're gonna grab it up there. Left about 50-50 up top and 50% down here. We'll mount the filter, run it back into the line, connect it to a solenoid, and we'll be in business. Okay, so we wanna put this filter probably on a beam up here, somewhere that's accessible, where I'm not gonna kink any line getting to, and that can be easily changed every couple months.
So they give you a pretty standard mount, and we'll just screw that in right up there. Yeah? Okay. Okay, I've got it mounted. On this, you will see, when you look at it, that flow goes that way, towards the unit. These are quick connects, and my 1/4 inch PVC line here will quick connect right in. So we're gonna try to do it very seamless. So I would say we will cut maybe about right here on this line to connect in, and that'll give us, we'll say about 12 inches right there. And we'll really make it seamless so we don't have extra line. All the extra line is going to be underneath the unit upstairs. We don't want extra down here. We just want a clean install. Okay, so I'll start cutting and quick connecting. And here I'll tie in a new 1/4 inch line with a stint in the PVC and a nice spacer in there, a lock spacer. I guess that's what it's called. And we'll just make sure nothing's leaking before we energize it to the solenoid. Okay, that's how it should look installed. Very clean, simple, hidden. That's it. Let's go upstairs and connect to the solenoid. Okay, so let's operate on the front of the machine. First, we know we got to put a new solenoid valve in. This is the 500 series valve for this machine. I don't like the 500 series valve. The garden hose connection on it, it's antiquated. Nobody carries a garden hose connection for a refrigerator or for anything for that matter. You go to Home Depot, you're not going to find it. What you will find though is 1/4 inch line, 1/4 inch connection for a 1/4 inch line, which they made on the 600 series valve. So I'm going to use this 600 series valve on my 500 series refrigerator, and it's going to work great. And the garden hose, well, I'll keep that in the 80s. Now, a few more things. I gave myself about 3 feet of line from the basement up here. I'm going to add a fitting here that shuts the water off, if need be, underneath the machine. So if I ever need to service this, I don't have to go fumble around in the basement. And then I'm gonna add another 3 feet, and that's gonna give me about 6 feet. And if I ever need to pull this machine out, I will not have to disconnect the water line. I will have plenty of room to pull it out from the wall without kinking the line, doing anything silly. So let's get it all connected. Okay, so I've got my line here with a 1/4 inch. I've got my little washer in the middle there. I've got it stinted, and I've got the shutoff connected. So I'll take my new solenoid, which I put nylon on the end of, as you can see, and I will go ahead and I will get this connected and situated underneath the refrigerator, where I will connect the plastic line that goes up to the ice maker right there and the electricity right there, and I will neatly place it under there. Okay, so here's the valve. There's your water supply from the basement. In the back there, that goes from the back of your solenoid up to the ice maker, about 8 ounces at a time, when it calls for water from an electric charge from your ice maker. There is your electrical outlet on the top there. We're gonna take this valve, we're gonna put it back into place. I'm just gonna leave it there for now. Now we're gonna go and turn the water on and make sure we have no leaks. Here we are, energizing the valve with house water. No leaks. Let's go check upstairs. Looking good up front here. I don't see any drips. Looking good on our shutoff valve. I would say that's a success. Let's now get into changing the ice maker itself. Okay, so here's your ice maker. There are 2 screws, one in the back on the wall up there, one on the wall in there, and a third right there. So go ahead, I'll just do this with one hand. Get this out. Go up in here, right through the teeth of the ice maker. I'm just gonna remove them and put them down here. And then what we are going to do is get this ice maker off the wall. It's connected to electricity, so what we'll have to do is we'll just go ahead and let it hang. The ice maker arm on this from 1988 was mounted in the wall. The new one will be mounted in the ice maker. And what we're gonna do is go ahead. You're gonna take off the cap to the ice maker. Sorry guys, one hand is kind of difficult. All right, there it is. And then we're just gonna pop out the electrical supply, okay? Okay, so here's the old 1989 ice maker, 8/24/1989, look at that. And it's 2021, and I've got my new ice maker plugged in already. I just plugged it in until it snaps into place. I've got one screw on the wall, I've got the other two off the wall. It's very obvious where the fill tube, ice maker fill tube's gonna pop in. Just get it in, and then let's just slide that ice maker right onto the back, right onto that screw. Now it's just as simple as putting it into place and lining up the screw holes and screwing it all together, snapping on the arm. So let's do it. Okay guys, it's in. We're gonna put the arm in place now. Just go ahead and snap it right into place in the front, and in the back on the ice maker, just gonna pop that in right up there on the cup. And I like to always zip tie my ice makers, my ice maker arms. That way your arm doesn't break off or fall off and you'll make too much ice. Now power is supplied to the ice maker here when the ice maker bin hits the power switch right here. Also down here, fan and lights. But that's your ice maker switch, and it's activated when it is hit by the ice maker bucket. So we'll put this all together and see if we get ice. Okay, it's been about 24 hours and we have clean, clear, beautiful, full-sized ice cubes. Would you look at that? Perfect. You could put these in a cup, watch them dissolve, and they'll be crystal clear.